Well, hello and welcome to IRL F2s. It's round 10 and Abu Dhabi. I'm Sondra Sorog. Today I'm joined by the Bottle Scott himself, Thomas Scott.
Well, hello there.
Had to sneak in your nickname there. So, 18 drivers today. Only 2 guys missing.
Good turnout from the F2 lads, I must say.
Oh, it is a good turnout, yeah. Well, I'll say we'll just jump right into guessing the top 4 for quali. Do you want to start or do you want to let me start?
I'll let you crack on.
Alright, well, I'm gonna be saying Abu Dhabi. I'm gonna be saying Paco on pole ahead of Marcel in second, then Jared in third and Michael in fourth. So that's my top 4. Your turn.
I'm going to put Paco on pole. Obviously I know Paco quite well. He's got his wheel back, so his pace is back. And a few drivers in F2 as well have also said that this is one of his stronger tracks. So I'm going to say Paco on pole. I'm going to put Jared Forsberry in second, but then I'm going to put Adrian Storm in third. I think the Force India. Someone anyway. Adrian Storm, I think he's going to take third on the grid today. And then I think Little Roman Nino's going to take a surprise P4.
Yeah, I actually forgot about him, but some good suggestions there. I believe one of the first drivers to start their lap should be Callum Anderson in the Force India. And well, talking about Force India, Thomas, what do you think we can get from Billy today? Do you think he can keep the good form going, or do you think it might be harder today?
Abu Dhabi's a tough track, it really is. I think, for me as well, I think Abu Dhabi as a track makes me nervous just because it actually is, it obviously is the final track on the calendar in real life, but obviously isn't sometimes, and obviously online seasons we don't have it as a final track, so I know it seems harmless, and we are in the middle of the season, we're nowhere near the end, but I think a few drivers feel a little bit of pressure at Abu Dhabi. I know I can hold my hand up and say that Abu Dhabi is a track that I do feel, you know, it's a big occasion to race in Abu Dhabi.
Well, definitely, and of course, Abu Dhabi has shown itself like one of the tracks where you will be struggling with the tire temps, and obviously that favors everyone who's on a wheel, as it is easier to keep the tire temps down with a wheel. Do you think that might become a factor today?
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why, even if Paco doesn't take pole, I think it's Paco's race to win, because, you know, he's up there with the pace. I think he'll definitely be top 3 for speed-wise today. But just for the fact of his wheel as well, you know, he'll be able to keep, as long as he can manage those tight temps, I think. With the combination of being one of the fastest people in the lobby and keeping them tight temps down, I think it's more than achievable. But, riding on board with Callum Anderson there, his lap on the super softs was pretty shambolic by his standards. All over the place.
Yeah, well, at the moment we do see that Michael Marlowe, one of the guys I mentioned for top 4 in quali, has taken pole at the moment, but he has decided to go with hypersoft tires, and me personally, I would not be going on the hypers. I would definitely go on the ultras. Do you think we will see many people on hypers, or do you think most people will be on the ultra?
I'm not sure. I think, now you've mentioned it, I think someone like Paco could take a gamble on the hypers, as long as he takes pole. And I mean, you know, if he can blitz off into the distance and get them laps in, obviously he can keep tire temps down as he's on the wheel, and we know he's got the pace. I think maybe a few select drivers could maybe make the hypers work starting, but to make the hypers work, you've got to start at the front and you've got to just you've got to bolt away from anyone behind you.
Definitely. Well, I would say that, as you say, you can put yourself on pole with the hypers and you might be able to pull away and make a little gap, but in the end those hypers really don't last for more than just a couple of laps, and if you do that you got to be doing a two-stop, which could put you in the middle of a lot of traffic. And we've seen this season that there is a lot of battling in the midfield, up front, basically everywhere here in F2, so I don't think you could make that work. I think, well, of course you can make it work, but as Marshall says in the live stream here, hypers are a death wish, and it's a pretty good way to describe it.
I think somebody who has got a bit of pace but isn't really anywhere in the championship could definitely maybe take a gamble on those hypers and just gamble on a safety car.
And as we're talking about it, Marcel has gone on the hypers and started 34.8. 1.5. Well, yeah, almost 1.5 second quicker than. Well, 1 second quicker than second place, which is Tim in the Mercedes, also on the hypers. So I'm not really sure what times we're expecting from pole today, but yeah, as they are so far ahead of the guys on supers, I do believe they might have pushed during those laps, which means that they would be starting on hypers.
I think I think what that's shown us as well as the Red Bull of in P4 is I would say that's a full representation, because he is quite a bit down on everyone else on the hypers, and I don't think he's 2 seconds down. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I think 1.5 to 2 seconds is a lot to be losing on the same compounder tyre.
Yeah, well, you are talking about Michael then, the Red Bull driver? Yeah, definitely. Michael should be up there. He should have put in a much stronger lap on hypers, so in my opinion, he's sandbagged that stint. I would...
The old Sawhawk sandbag.
The sandbagger of PSGL. Well, yeah, I don't believe that was a serious lap by him, but he is on an out lap.
We've got the two Renaults, both out in Super Sauce. We've got I believe that's Chris Ryan, Convicts. That's Chris Ryan, isn't it?
Yeah, that is Chris Ryan.
Chris Ryan, yeah. Chris Ryan's out on the Ultra Softs. Obviously got the two Renaults leading the championship 1 and 2.
Well, it's actually not like that anymore, because since Paco struggled during the last race with being on a pad and he's kind of on a bad streak right now. He has lost second in championship to Joe Hollis. So they're they're first and third at the moment in the championship.
But definitely, I mean, definitely the best team on the grid by far, the Renaults. I mean, I know I've tuned into F2 a few times, but I did race the first round in Canada, and I experienced the might of the Renaults. You know, being stuck between them in Canada was not a fun experience. I can confirm.
The Renault sandwich.
Wasn't a fun experience, but I mean it's great because, you know, they've been up there with each other all season, and you know they're still great mates, and they're still teammates, and there's no spite against each other. You know, they're fighting against each other arm in arm, and they're still teammates at the end of the day, and they still strive for the best for the team. You know, encouraging each other, you know, getting each other into practice and things like that. I think You know, it's a great example to people out there that teammates are teammates, and it doesn't matter who you're fighting, if they're your teammates or not. You know, you've got to treat them with respect, and if they are your teammates, then treat them like a normal teammate.
Definitely. Well, as you mentioned, it's an interesting fact about the championship leader. He's got, I believe, if I can remember correctly, he's gotten 8 podiums or 9 podiums so far this season. He did not get one at Britain, but he's pretty much been, well, up there every time possible. And, well, at the moment, it's starting to look, well, a little like it looked for Vettel against Hamilton in 2017 in the mid part of the season. Like, Hamilton just opened the gap and Vettel never came back. It's kind of starting to look like that with Fosbury just being so consistent. Although I can see that Paco has gotten in a lap on the supers, and it's a 36.1.
Goes 3/10 faster than his teammate. I mean, I was on board with his teammate for that lap. It wasn't a particularly bad lap, but again, it's super softs, so I'm not sure if they're looking to qualify on the supers or maybe go on the ultras. But I do see a lot of people on these super softs.
Yeah, but I do see that we've already gotten Marcel putting in a lap on hypers out of the like top contenders, and I'm also seeing Storm right now. He's also out on hypers. So we could see quite a few different strategies between the top drivers. As Storm goes into the pit, so maybe he's just tricking me there.
I think Paco, when I said the hypers things, I said, obviously not you mentioned that, I think it is quite, I wouldn't majorly question Paco's intent if he went on the hypers, because obviously he is third now, so he's got to start making some serious ground, and he's got to be aggressive, and he's got to, I think if there's any chance for Paco, how much is the point difference, may I ask?
I will have to check actually, because I can't remember right now. But I believe it's, well, Jared would need to DNF in a few races, basically.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think Paco, I mean, it's up to Paco if he just wants to try and, you know, secure that P2, or he really wants to go blitz and try and get this championship. I think he's going to have to take gambles like hopping on the hypers and like hoping for a safety car.
So the gap between them right now, between Paco and Jared, is 60 points.
Yeah, I think that Paco, it's up to Paco what he wants to fight for.
The gap between Jared and Joe is 57 points. So you're right. If he wants to get back in there, he might need to take some risks. Although he seems to be pretty confident about winning this Abu Dhabi race, so
yeah, well,
maybe he doesn't need to take the risk on this track.
He knows himself better than we know him.
Obviously.
But yeah, I mean, just for other tracks in the season, obviously, as I mentioned, a lot of people have said that this is one of Paco's best tracks, and you know, especially the fact that he's now got his wheel back, and he's got out to prove a point, because I think people might have forgot what Paco was, because obviously he's had his wheel broken for like, I think, a few weeks now, and obviously he's been a bit off the pace. I mean, obviously there's nothing he can do about it, you know, his wheel's broken. He races on a wheel, so obviously going back to a pads, obviously.
And of course he did have some races that pretty much just didn't go the way he wanted them to go, so
I mean, for Paco, I think no, it's looking very unlikely. I mean, no offense, I'd love to see him get up there, but I think it's really a real big ask to gain, you know, 57 points on second, and then like a further 20, so you know, a good 70, 80 points to gain. I think that's a lot.
Oh no.
I think
he had 60 points to Jared.
Right.
And it's
But,
57 points for Joe to Jared.
oh, so he's only 3 points behind.
Yeah, he's just behind.
Oh,
But,
I thought you meant.
yeah, I realized
Joel
it.
was like 3 points behind, and then I was about to say, bloody hell.
But well,
Title
I can
fight
see
on.
that Tim is out on the hypers. He's not on a lap yet though, so it is an out lap.
I apologise sincerely, but I'm gonna have to run to the toilet.
You go for it. And we see that a few drivers has retired. Well, I don't know why. Did not catch that. But I do see that Joe Hollis is on a lap right now. He's up there. He's been up there pretty much the whole season. He's been consistent for... Well, he's been pretty consistent, even though he hasn't been quite as consistent as the championship leader. So 1 minute left. And I see that Marcel, Tim, they're both gonna be doing laps on hypers. They will be starting on hypers then. In the meantime, Paco, Lee, Nino, Jared, Storm, Christos, a lot of drivers will be starting on the Ultras if they improve their time. As Joe comes into the last corner on his ultra soft tires, he will be setting a 35.8, putting him 4th at the moment. I believe Tim is in the middle sector. He's just starting in the middle sector. Marcel is a little further up the road. He's looking for his 4th pole of the season, but can he manage to get it to turn that into a win? That's another question. Paco is in the 1st sector, so we're gonna have a look at Marcel as he is in the last sector. Michael Marlowe retires. He will be starting 8th on Hypersoft. That is really not a good position to be for him. As Marcel is going into the second to last corner, he's going into the second to last corner there actually, and into the last corner he will be improving and sets a 35.4 and has pole, and Nino has done a 35.4, so at the moment we're looking at Marcel for pole. Joe has retired from the quali, same as Lee, same as Michael.
We've got the 2 Renaults out on ultra softs.
And Lance.
We're gonna have Gerard Forsberg, the first of the Renaults across the line.
Yeah, you're right. So the championship leader coming to the line, and he will be setting a 35.7. That puts him 4th at the moment.
I think
Do remember
this
his
close
teammate
to,
is coming right behind, and he sets...
I believe that's P2.
Yeah, it was
Indeed,
P2, so... I don't believe any of us predicted the 2 front rows right then. But top 10 we have Marcel Holder on pole on hypers. Then we have Paco and Nino in 2nd and 3rd on ultras. Tim Brisdelins in 4th on hypers. Jared, Joe and Storm in 6th, 5th, 6th and 7th on ultras. Lee on the supers, but he has a 5-place grid penalty. Michael in 9th on hypers, and James in 9th on hypers. Then...
I did predict Nino in 3rd.
Oh, that's nice to know. Well, outside of top 10, we did have... Yeah. I did not make that.
We've got Leroy outside the top 10 as well.
Callum in 11th, Christos in 12th, Charlie in 13th, Billy in 14th, Chris in 15th, Luke Baker in 16th, Jeremy Pope in 17th, and Lance LeBrun in 18th. So, before we get the formation lap underway, Thomas, do you care to be the first of us to guess the podium for today?
I think we're going to have Nino remaining in P3. I think we're going to see Paco take the win. And I think we're going to see Jared Forsberry in P2. I think that's what we're looking at today.
Alright. So, Paco, Forsberry, Nino for you then?
Yep.
Well, I would say... I'm gonna say Paco, Nino, Marcel. I believe that might be it today.
I think what's important here as well is we've got Jared, we've got the 2 Mercs both out of the session already.
Lee did get a grid penalty which places him last on the grid. That's interesting. That means Callum will be starting in 10th on Ultras. Then we have Christos, Charlie and Billy all on Ultras. Chris on Hypers, interesting. His Ferrari teammate Luke on Supers, Jeremy and KAMIKAZE and Lance on Ultras. So we do actually have and Lee on Supers last. So we do have 2 guys on Supers looking for long first stints. Most guys on Ultras and a couple of guys on Hypers too. I think this is going to be an interesting race to see.
I think, yeah, I think it's interesting to see that some people, we've obviously got Chris Ryan on the Hypersoft starting P14, so I think there's a lot of overtaking to be had there. I think the midfield's going to be packed. I think everything's going to be packed because we've got a lot of ultra soft runners who obviously are going to be fighting for each other because they don't let one another go. And then we're going to have, I feel like some of the hyper soft runners are going to fall into the clutches later on in their stints. I think we're in for a fantastic race today.
Alright, well, I'm just gonna remind everyone who's watching and driving to keep it calm. You can't win the race in the first corner. And now we're just gonna try to get a good view. That's
that was good, kids.
Always too easy.
I'm gonna stay on board with the Renault of Paco Suarez. Now we've got the lights.
And 3, 4, 5 red lights, and it's a long hold. And there we go, they're away, and it's a good start by Nino and Paco, pressuring Marcel, and Marcel spins it. And there goes the Haas into him.
And we get the Mercedes going on with a P2.
And the 5-second stop and go for Marcel for collision with James. That is.
We've got Jared Forsberry. He's already made his way up to P2, P4 even. But looks.
Yeah, look at this. There is Paco is already pulling away from Tim in second, and there is a big train behind Tim. And we see Jared in fourth already. He had a great start, and
I think it's a cautious start, and I think obviously the position he's in, he's more than he's more than justified to be cautious. I think he's just, at the end of the day, I think he's just driving to enjoy his season. I mean, I think we've more or less got
Jared doesn't actually need to win that many races now to win a championship. He just needs to collect like points within the top 4 drivers every race, and he's gonna win it for sure. So yeah, the thing he can't afford is to DNF. So he might be a little cautious, just as you said.
The thing
as
is,
we see that Paco,
he's got 2 DNFs.
Well, he hasn't pulled away too much. You see that Tim isn't that far behind. Although I can see that my timings on my screen is glitched, as it says that Tim is a lap down.
For me it says Tim's an hour and 40 behind.
A minute and 40, you mean?
No, it's an hour and 40 for me. I think Tim, the problem that he's going to have now is more towards behind him with Nino. I think Nino's got to just harvest the RS and just wait for them tyres to drop and then just get past him straight away, because right behind him it's Jared Forsberry.
Oh, you do know, with these long straights we might see from the next lap on, I think we might see Tim getting swamped on the long straights, if he doesn't already, making a mistake out of that corner.
And
Nino does have a run on him. He will be looking to go on the outside.
He comes back to the inside.
Comes back to the inside, they're side by side. Nino has to cut the corner.
Oh, and Nino's out!
And I got a horrible camera angle.
That could be the safety car. I think
Nino
thought he cleared him. I think Nino thought he cleared him, and I think that he obviously was still there so slightly, and I think there's just nothing that Tim could have done. But I mean, awful collision. I'm surprised.
To be honest, I got a horrible camera angle, so I didn't see it.
But we've got the 2 Renaults dominating.
But there won't be any safety car. Does not look like it, at least. As
we have got the McLaren.
Callum gets a 5-second stop and go for corner cutting.
We have got the Renault of Joe in P3 now, and he's just sitting outside that DRS zone. So if he can clip together the next 2 laps, he could find himself maybe having to go at Jared Forsberry here. But the 2 Renaults separated by 2.5 seconds. I think they're going to be fairly comfortable. I think. I'm not sure if they sit in the park together, but I think Paco's
Thomas,
just going to be trying to get
he likes them vulnerable.
But what we've got here is we've got Agent Storm storming up to the back of the McLaren, the McLaren Renault even, sorry. I'm 2 years behind.
2 years behind. That's impressive, Thomas. Well, but you do have a point, and Storm is close on Joe's rear now. Joe's defending,
make a move.
But Storm waits, he's being patient.
I mean, Joe seems to be really struggling, he just doesn't seem to have the grip.
Looks like his rear tires has fried up, and I can't say I remember every race, but I do remember that. I do remember that Joe has struggled a lot during the season with tire temps, so he might have actually fried them out and overheating his tires.
We have got the Renault now. I mean, the gap's closed down by a second, so is Paco maybe saving tires? Is Paco? I'm not sure what's going on. They're just trying to give each other a bit of DRS just to get away from each other. Because as I said, they are very good teammates, and they do work together. I'm not
Definitely, sure. But you know, with Paco 60 points behind in the championship, he might not be that easy for Forsberry to get past now.
But I think the crucial thing for Paco is here that P2 in the championship is Joe, and he is currently sat in P5, and Chris Ryan's out the race also, P11.
Not Chris Ryan, that is Lance.
Oh, sorry, I Flights and convicts,
You
bye-bye.
mixed up the two Americans there.
I'm very sorry.
That is fine. But look at this. Joe might be struggling with his tires, but he will be trying to come back at Michael Marlowe, the Red Bull driver, on the hypers. His tires will be fading off soon. Marcel, however, he decided to pit onto a new set of hypers after his ban. He's up to 8th, but not really sure what he's thinking doing that, but
I think you've got Leroy here, Leroy and Luke Baker there. They're both Leroy's got a bit of clean air, Luke's got a bit of clean air. He might come under attack from Marcel. But I think Leroy is a very good show. I mean, he had a fantastic race in PSGO last week. And I think he's on a real...
He had a fantastic race around Italy too, until he lost the car out of Ascari. He was in the lead at that point.
So I think Leroy's driving with a lot of confidence at the minute, and he's gaining rapidly.
Lee is probably one of the drivers I'll expect to get a race win before the season is over. Although at the moment it looks to be a Renault victory today. Unless Storms can start to pull out blistering laps at some point. But as we now see, Lux is right behind Michael Marlowe, and Marlowe on those hypers should be struggling more than Joe, even though we saw Joe struggling.
Joe in the McLaren Renault, he's going to go around the outside. Obviously the DRS has helped him
James
get through.
is retired too. And
Joe's go around the
it is a
outside.
move around the outside, but Michael is not backing down straight away, but he has to back down. I don't think he has the grip anymore with those tires.
And this battling is just bringing Leroy closer and closer now.
Oh yeah, definitely. We do have a 3-car battle for 5th at the moment. Unfortunately, again.
Yeah, he's come off them hypersauce. He's now back onto ultras. To be fair though, the hypersoft runner of Michael is sticking with Joe at the minute. That's one of the annoying things about Abu Dhabi. I think you don't have it, the first sector, and then you're straight into the long straight. I think that's one of the tough things. You overtake someone, but you need to pull out as much as possible because there's only a few corners.
Oh yeah, that was the Haas of James, I believe.
That's Adrian Storm. Adrian Storm spun out, is now on P6.
Charlie has made a move on Callum to get past him. We did not get that because we're following this 3-car battle as they're heading down the long straight. Can they make it 3 wide? I think Lee is a little too far behind, but Michael is definitely gonna go on a move on Joe.
Michael's gonna go around the outside. No, he isn't. He's gonna try and get a nice little exit on
he's trying to switch back.
DRS zone.
And look at that, he's getting a much better exit than Joe, and he will
definitely go around the outside. Yeah, defenseless without the DRS.
Before the corner.
And Joe has lost the position again. That's what I mean. That's why Abu Dhabi brings great battles, because of them 2 DRS zones. You can't seem to clear your opponent at all. You just can't.
Nah, I mean, you can pass him on the first DRS zone, and then he might come back on the second one. So I like that.
And that's why we get such great battling. You get past someone, but that's not it. You've got to pull away. You've really got to get the throttle down. But all this is doing is bringing Leroy right onto the back of Joe now, and I think Michael's doing everything he can with these hypers, but at the end of the day...
Interesting note, Michael on hypers, Joe on ultras, and Lee on supers. So the 3 cars all on different compounds, and
I'd still expect Joe to maybe be the faster of the 3 at the minute.
Well, I don't know, if Joe can't get past Michael soon and pull a little away...
And Leroy might be able to get a move. Nope. But Joe's
all sitting behind him so far.
I think Leroy's definitely going to get a move on Joe here, and I think we could maybe see 3 wides.
It looks like Joe is struggling a bit more again. He does not have DRS on Michael. Lee, however, has the DRS wing already opened. He will be looking for the outside, as that is inside for the next corner. They're side by side. Joe trying to get a good exit. Lee has made the move, but can he make it stick?
Joe's going to come back at him. He's going to go around the outside. And it's just releasing Michael into the distance. And another thing I've just realised, if we look towards the front of the field...
Oh yeah, look at that.
Very close.
As Joe makes the move stick and it's up to 4th again.
I'm going to jump on board with our race.
If you could keep an eye on that. And look at that, Marlowe in 3rd, still on those hypers, 6 laps in. Those tires cannot be good anymore, as we do see that Joe and Lee is keep battling. And I believe that Joe should have really pulled away at some point from Lee, considering ultras against supers, but it just seems like Joe is struggling with the tire temps. Or
the second I jumped on board with the leader, he's lost a heap load of time to back up. Yeah,
I noticed it.
I'm not sure what it was. I don't know if he's struggling to tie away a bit more.
I believe you have Marcel right behind Billy Mossam at the moment too. Marcel driving with the number of 69. Who doesn't know what that means? And Joe has lost time to Lee, so we're gonna stick on board with Marcel as he's not that far behind Billy. Although it looks like Marcel is struggling a bit with the grip too.
Chris Ryan's around again.
Are you sure it's Chris Ryan this time?
Yes. I'm very sure it was the Ferrari spinning back to the grid. He's had a very disaster-prone race, to say the least.
Well, as of the moment, we don't actually have any real battles. We have a few drivers not that far behind
Marcel
each other.
And Julie,
yeah, but Marcel did have a good chicane there and is close on Billy now.
He's just clawing away. Obviously his tyres are slightly younger. I wouldn't say it's a massive difference.
It's not many places to make a move right there though, but ooh, that is a ballsy move.
It's balls, but he backed out of it, I think. I think the ball shrunk a little bit there.
Well, we do see that Marcel is really all over the back of Billy as they're going in.
And Marcel's now going to try and go to the inside in the final corner.
Where did Billy go?
He's diving in the pit lane.
Alright.
So that was not ideal for Billy. He was trying to come in the pits.
Well, look at this. We have the McLaren of Charlie Sampson right on the back of Luke Baker. So we lost one battle, but we found a new one.
I think that...
And look at this. Adrian has passed Callum in the corner before the DRS straight.
I think this is now where we're going to see the switch over point of the supers are now going to be the fastest race tyre currently. I think the ultra runners are now going to be well, I wouldn't say it's a massive loss, but I do think that the super runners are going to be the
definitely if you're Storm, because he's on 2 laps old supers, so he's pretty much on fresh supers. The interesting thing is that Michael Marlowe is still staying out on his 8 laps old Hypersoft. Would have thought he would have pitted soon. I think it's going to be
interesting to see where the Renault of Paco and the, as we now mentioned that Michael's coming in the pits. Fairly good pit entry, but it's be interesting to see. I think Paco himself.
Those tires were probably pretty much done.
I think Paco himself is going to come out at about P5.
And Joe is pitting too.
So I mean that's a great stint from Michael. I mean he's took them hypers 9 laps. I think that's outstanding when you've got people like Joe pitting on the ultras at this point as well.
Look at this, no, not Michael, but Charlie's all over the back of Luke, and I think we're gonna see the McLaren do move on the Ferrari on the straight, as Luke's get a time penalty.
Yeah, I do think we've got a move coming here. I think he's got a lot of ERS as well, Charlie. Luke Baker hasn't got a
Although
lot
he's
of
on
ERS.
all the ultras, but he did have a good exit there. He's closing the gap 10th by a 10th.
I don't think it's enough.
As we see them coming into this chicane, he's not close enough, but with a good exit from this chicane, he might be able to make the move before the next corner.
He gets on the curb a bit. No, I think he's got a good
Yeah,
enough run. I
no.
think if he gets tucked up in the slipstream, I think maybe a late
Oh,
launch.
look at this. We might see a late Ricardo the launch, but we do not.
No, too late. It's interesting to see the fact that Charlie is he is still keeping up there with the Ferrari of Luke Baker, who is on the super soft tyres, and obviously I would say now that this is more than definitely the super softs. So I think Luke needs to just get the most out of them tyres and just get that 1 second out. But as I was saying, you know, Abu Dhabi, it's not easy to shake someone off. It really isn't.
You do have a point there, and we do see that as Luke is still keeping Charlie behind him. We now have Storm right behind Charlie, but Charlie is pitting.
So now we've got Adrian Storm, who's going to be
passing the torch onwards to Storm.
Luke Baker. Luke Baker on, you know, half as worn tyres more or less, maybe a little bit more. And just the way Luke Baker didn't seem to be able to pull away from the ultra softs of Charlie, I think it's going to be a fairly swift move, and I think it's going to be done on this straight. In all fairness, I think Luke Baker is currently struggling a little bit in this like middle part of the super soft stint.
Yeah, but look at this, Storm is all over Luke, and he does get him there, but
it's all the DRS, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, it is actually Storm who has DRS, so. But Luke can try to tuck into the slipstream. He will have DRS on this next straight. It does not look like he'll be able to get him back. Storm is slightly pulling more and more away.
I think Storm with the fresher tyres, and I think Luke Baker, I know, you know, them tyres for me, I'd say that they should be okay, but obviously he's clearly struggling. Maybe I think it's a bit with tyre temps.
Might be.
Luke Baker running, he's just going to try and run his own race and just, you know, get the car on the track.
Look at this right now. The next battle we're gonna pay attention to is Joe right behind Christos Calamides. The Renault against Toro Rosso.
Be interesting to see where the leaders come out, I think.
Well, Pac will probably come out in third, depending on if Lee or Jared pits before him.
Maybe second, maybe.
But look at this. Joe has passed Christos into the first corner.
A lovely move. We've had some fantastic overtakes this race.
Joe is on ultras though, so
we've got Michael who's now on the back of Luke Baker. Luke Baker's really struggling. He's struggling to keep the car on the track. He's really losing them super soft tyres, I think.
Yeah.
I think tyre temps have become a major problem for Luke.
Well, that is most likely tyre temps. It's definitely not aware because, as you can see, the top two drivers are on ultras 11 laps and he's on super, so it's got to be the temps.
But the Renaults are in paradise at the minute.
But look at this, we have Charlie once again trying to get past the car, and it's Callum Anderson this time.
Who's on fresh supers, and we've got Charlie who's on fresh ultras. He's going to get the switch back, and
look
Callum
at that
Anderson
exit.
flips the curb majorly there, though. He flipped the curb majorly, and he's already passed. I think Callum Anderson really hindered himself there. He took way too much of that curb there, and cost his exit dearly.
Well, definitely. As we do see that Charlie did get past quite easily after he basically got past before the straight really began. But Callum is keeping up his trying to stay on Charlie, as Charlie is making his way up to Billy, Calum's teammate. It's not the best race for the Force Indians today. Not really the best race for the McLarens either. And 5 retirements over today for the moment. Might see a few more. As Paco has actually pitted now, Thomas, he came out in second, 15 seconds behind Jared.
Julian, I think I was just on board with John. I think John Julian's collided, but on the straight there, I think Julian might have.
I don't see any damage on any of the cars.
But I mean, Joe was behind him, tucked up in the slipstream, and he was about to overtake him, and Marcel's moved across there. And I think, unless lag's involved, I think Marcel's got some explaining to do there. I really do.
Might have been lag, I don't know, but we'll see after the race if.
So we've now got Charlie in a Force India sandwich. He's now catching up to Billy.
But look at this though. You're mentioning Marcel, and look at this, Marcel and Joe so close behind Luke right now. And Marcel looks to be trying to move in the oh, and look at this, Joe!
Wing damage.
Oh. Marcel actually went into the pit, so he did have wing damage.
I think he got wing damage from that.
Joe at least got past Luke and is up to 5th now. I got to say though, Michael really impressing as he stretched those hypers for so long. And
yeah, the Renaults have pitted, I didn't realise, but
I'm not sure if he's still in contention for the win, but he's in contention for a podium at least.
Jared Forsberry lost an awful lot of time there. I think maybe did they try double stack? I'm not sure what's happened there, but Jared lost.
No, they didn't double stack. Jared pitted a lap later than Paco. And considering tire temps, being on those fresh supers, I think Paco really got just had way more pace than Jared on that lap.
I don't know, I think 5 seconds is a lot of time,
Oh, and there is an incident between, that would be Billy and Charlie, I think. I didn't exactly see what happened, but they did go into the wall together. And I can see that Billy has front wing damage.
I've got the field.
Charlie has front wing damage too, so that's not great for neither one of them. And Christos, yeah, well, not really a battle. He passed Luke in the pit. Interesting though, Lee is on the ultra soft tires. Can he take those 13 laps to the end? Oh, and I didn't almost not notice this, but Lee is right behind Christos as we're on the first of the 2 DRS straights. Lee goes around, goes on his inside, and it's a pretty standard move there. Got past, not that difficult. And those fresh ultras really gets a better exit than the used. As Billy have either lagged out or left.
I think Adrian Storm's lost a good 2 seconds there to Jared Forsberry.
I got to be honest, I believe he might have been in AI for a few seconds too, considering I see that he has actually made a comment in the live stream.
What did he say in the live stream?
Only good thing about this this track is the long straight. I can wait. Well, I mean, I kind of like Abu Dhabi, to be honest.
Joe's
I don't
pitted
like
after
the tight ends.
slaps on the ultra softs. I think that's questionable.
Nah, he does not have wing change either, so...
Stop go, I believe. No, it was just a game glitching. I'm really not sure why Joe's done that. To be fair, Joe, why did Joe go on the ultras and not the supers? It's questionable. We've got Leroy who's on the
yeah,
the
I was just thinking about it, so... I don't know.
I think Adrian Storm and Michael May. I mean, you see Michael. I think Michael's safe to go at the end. I think Adrian Storm maybe. He just maybe might find it a little bit hard. I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
I
Michael
think
is probably safe to go to the end,
but
but Storm 9 laps on the supers.
I think
there is 12
we see
more
Michael's
laps.
looking after his tyres and how far he took them hypers. I think Adrian Storm might struggle on them supers to get to the end, so I think his pace will hinder. And
well,
I think
it is 21
Michael
laps he
could
would
see
make
towards the
on
end.
those supers if he's taking them to the end, and as I said though, Michael was able to take the hypers a lot longer than we thought, so...
Oh, yeah, I mean, he
might
more or less a third of the race.
Yeah, might be a case of tire saving towards the end for Storm, I don't know. I guess we'll see later, but right now I can see that we will be having a 3-car battle between Callum Anderson, Marcel and Joe. As Marcel is right behind Callum and actually makes a move into the second to last corner.
When he gets it done, that's a nice move. We got Joe, who might try in the last corner. Nope, he thinks better of it. Is he going to have a go? He's going to have a go around the outside at the turn 1. Joe's not messing around.
And he goes around the outside at turn 1.
That's a fantastic move.
Yeah, but he went a little wide, so I mean, he did, well, Callum didn't have the best corners in turn 2 and 3. But this could be interesting though, with Joe and Marcel both on just a couple of laps old supers, both trying to chase down Christos 10 seconds ahead. As we see that Joe is actually trying to make the move there, and
Marcel shows him the door.
Oh yeah.
But Marcel could be under pressure again with that DRS zone. I think Marcel is going to have to go defensive here. I think we could have Joe making that move before we even get to the corner.
And around the outside, Marcel.
Yes, the dart
Marcel might have missed his braking a little there.
Yeah.
We can see that Luke Baker is right behind Marcel now too.
He's got hyper softs.
Hyper, so
we've got yellow flags in sector 3. Who's that?
Sector 3.
I'm not sure it's not coming up.
Well, this train should be in the 3rd sector, so I mean, should see something. I don't.
Too sure, but we have got a. We have no. Marcel has lost the position to
Joe. Yep. And Christos is in the pit, so he might have been the reason for the yellow flags. Maybe he lost it before he went into the pit.
I think Joe will be kicking himself just a little bit with how his race has gone so far, because questionably went on the
he's really gone through those tires quickly. And
I think for championship's sake as well, I mean, we've got Paco leading. You may or may not know that, but I think Joe will be kicking himself that he's going to lose the championship. And he's going to, well, not the championship, 2nd place in the championship. And he's going to lose a little bit more ground than what I personally think for damage limitation. I know I wouldn't expect him to be able to get up to Paco, but I think that a podium was definitely available for Joe today, and now it's looking very, very unlikely. Obviously, you can't write him off, but it's very unlikely.
Unless we have a safety car, I don't think he can get that far up. He's 18 seconds behind 5th. And then again, fifth is almost 7 seconds behind fourth.
Almost a pit stop in all fairness, and I mean, if he does pit, he's going to catch back up with them fresh tyres which I presume will be the hypers that he pits off.
But we do have Marcel though, he's chasing after Joe there. He will not let Joe... He will not let Joe off the hook that easy. He's going to try to chase after him as long as he can, I guess. And Baker, he looks like he can't actually follow that pace anymore now.
I'm surprised. Them hypers should still have a little bit of life in them.
Well, we did see that being very different from driver to driver in the opening of the race, as we saw Michael being able to take them far. We saw other drivers pitting really early, so yeah.
I think Luke maybe just put them hypers at a little bit too much of a stretch to get to the end. I think Takis, he's definitely going to get to the end on them. But I think Luke, Baker and Charlie have pushed the limit, pushed it just a little bit too much to take them hypers to the end.
And as you mentioned it, we do have Marcel who's looking to go for a move on Joe. He wasn't quite that close this time. And there isn't much else happening in this race right now except for this one battle. I do hope though that we're going to see this battle going on to the end. And while you were mentioning Joe not being too happy about this result, I can promise you that Marcel almost lost it completely there. But as I was going to say, Marcel is definitely not going to be happy with this result either. He was looking for a much better position than 7th in the end.
Absolutely, and we don't know where Marcel would have been, but I do think them Hypersofts wouldn't. I think he could have maybe got third. I don't think he might have been able to challenge Paco and Jared, who both started on the Ultras today.
As we can see that Marcel and Joe going onto the long straight, it's 5 tenths behind them, between them. Gap is going down, and Marcel is close enough to go for the move into the chicane. He will be looking for a good exit now, and he does get a much better exit than Joe, which is all over the curb. And he will be... well, Joe is defending and braking late. Marcel trying for a switchback. And trying to get the better of Joe on the inside. What a move!
Doesn't get the traction.
What a move by Marcel there. He might have seen that Joe was struggling a little there earlier in the race too, because I believe he did a similar move there. And Marcel...
we also got Takis getting on the back of Callum Anderson for P9 on the grid.
Oh yeah, you're right. Christos and Callum. Old supers against fresh hypers. Shouldn't really be that difficult for Christos, and as we can see, he's going to make the move into turn 1. And with those hypers, it's not that difficult of a move either.
Sorry,
but
someone came in the room.
Joe Hollis and Marcel going on to the long straight, and Joe is only 3 tenths behind. So we will see Joe passing Marcel. Marcel taking the inside line to defend, but he couldn't really defend there. He was... but look at this, Joe goes a little deep, which does not... he has a bad exit from that chicane again.
Gonna get the move done again.
Yeah, and with the RS, we'll go on the outside this time or inside. Oh, and he switches to the inside. Going for the dive there. They're side by side. And it is Marcel who's backing out. I'm pretty sure that this is the battle to watch out for now. I don't see many other drivers. I think we'll change positions before the race finishes. Getting a beautiful helicopter picture here where you can see that Marcel is trying to make up those tenths he lost everywhere by braking later. And look at this, the gap is just 2 tenths as they're going into turn 2 and 3. And Marcel does lose it a little.
He's gonna have to get his charge back on again.
Yeah, well, he didn't lose too much, luckily, but staying that close.
Those tires, though, the temperatures, I think they're skyrocketed a little bit there.
Yeah, maybe. And when you're overheating your tires and going into turn 2 and 3 there, it's really not fun. You will be sliding then. He did manage to keep it on track though, and it's not that far behind. He has a few tenths to recover, but he has 5 laps to do it. As when it comes to the podium, I think it's pretty much settled, except for
I think this is
Storm,
now where we're
though.
going to see
He's on
Michael
old tires, but
yeah, I think Michael may start clawing back time now towards the end, as I said earlier.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure exactly how far those supers can go, but Joe is definitely struggling with his tires. He got to be, because Marcel has closed that gap that he lost, and he's just a couple of tenths behind Joe as they're going into turn 1 again. Will he be able to keep it in turn 2 and 3 this time though, as they're going into it? Looks like he's taking it a little more cautious this time. Throwing that car into the corners and going on to the long straight. Marcel is close. There is just 3 tenths separating Joe and Marcel, so he's definitely gonna pass him. The question is if he's gonna be able to keep Joe behind him on the next straight. And both drivers braking late. Joe, Marcel with a big tank slapper there.
I think he might have got a little shunt off Joe there, not gonna lie.
Yeah, you know,
Joe's coming straight back at it. I mean, Marcel's coming straight back at him, goes around the outside this time. Joe's finally conceded it. And no, he doesn't.
And we're seeing some brilliant driving here right now. And I got to say, these drivers have been battling for a long time now, and they're still going at each other right towards the end of the race.
I think Michael, I don't think he's got the pace. I think he struggled a little bit on these supers. Obviously, the hyper stint he absolutely mastered to perfection.
Well,
I think
the whole Michael
fantastic.
could have is that Storm's tires just overheats and Storm spins. That is, I think that's pretty much what Michael will have to hope for. I do not believe that will happen though, but maybe. But when it comes to Marcel and Joe, they're still going at it, and Marcel is once again just a couple of tenths behind Joe going on to the long straight. Opening the DRS wing.
I don't think Marcel's close enough.
He might not be this time, or he might just... To be fair, if I were Marcel right now, I would try to just get as close as possible on the first straight and then wait to the second straight, because it's so easy to lose the position again.
I think he's going to have the move done now, but I think he's going to be able to have a go. very late on the brakes, I must say. From Joe, I think he's braking very well at the minute. And Paco's pitted. And Paco's conceded the lead of the race. What has gone on there?
Is he that confident that he can catch Jared now? Is that it?
I mean, Jared's only been on them 11 laps, and we, you know.
Yeah, but you know, 3 laps left. Hypers. He's on a wheel too, so he shouldn't be struggling. Oh, and we can see Marcel going for a move in the last corner against Joe. They're side by side going into the first corner. Joe has the inside line, and
I'm really not sure.
Just make the move back. But yeah, I mean, Paco's already closed in a second, over a second, so he might actually be that confident in catching Jared again before the end.
Unless Cyril has got on the radio and, you know, wants Jared Forsberry to wrap that title up mathematically and then go from there, maybe?
I don't think so. But look at the gap. It's not going down 10th by 10th, it's almost going down second by second, so I think I think he's probably gonna catch him in a lap or two, and he's probably gonna get that lead back actually. It is fresh hypers against old supers, so yeah. And I can see that Storm did post a message in the live stream saying, will they blow up? I assume he's talking about the tires. I honestly don't know, but he is the one on the oldest supers, and it's been so different from driver to driver how they keep their tires around this track, so I guess we'll see. And
I mean, I know he is closing rapidly.
Oh yeah.
I know he is closing rapidly. Don't get me wrong, but why would Paco do that? He had a good 6 seconds. I mean, to potentially risk the victory. I mean,
or I don't know. Oh, and look at this. Marcel goes for the move in before the DRS straight this time.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he is going to catch him, but I mean, just to risk it, you know, he could have just whacked the car in low and just preserved them.
Look at this. Joe comes back on Marcel here on the first DRS straight.
Got Luke Baker making a move on Callum Anderson, and Callum Anderson's conceded and no doubt a P10. But we've now got Paco Suarez.
And look at this, Marcel is coming back at Joe here.
Paco Suarez starting the penultimate lap of the race and is now within a second.
And Joe still manages to keep his car ahead of Marcel.
Jared Forsberry's about to concede the lead of the race before we get to the DRS zone.
And Forsberry is trying to defend.
He's holding. Oh, he's held. For how much longer?
Oh, I'll bet you
levels is tremendous.
He has 1/2 of a long straight left in the lead.
He's got the ERS. In all fairness to him, Paco Suarez has not got a lot of ERS, and Jared Forsberry's he's got the battery to defend, and he's only going to do that 3 more times. And I think, you know, I think Paco might have. He might have his work cut away for the final.
Well, you know, one thing's for sure, like, either way, Paco is either ending up like a strategy bubble by doing that, or he's ending up by basically kicking Jared in the groin by just being so confident that he's pitting on the last few laps and then just yeah, I'm passing you.
I think it's an unnecessary act from Paco. In all fairness, I think Jared might feel a bit annoyed that it may be an attempt to shame him.
But
you never know. You never know.
For us though, it's a great move.
Oh, I mean, thank you very much, Paco. I mean, but why you've done that, I have absolutely no idea.
And look at this, Marcel and Joe going right at it again as Marcel is trying it.
We're going on the last lap of the race now. Paco is going to start the lap in second. I mean, they've both got equal ERS as well. It's too. I mean, place your bets now, Sodro. Who's taking the win?
Paco.
I'm gonna go with my PSGL teammate, Jordy, and I think he's gonna hold it. I think.
Ah, biased.
Fellow countryman.
No, but look at this. Paco's tires they just have way more grip, and look how close Paco is going onto the straight now.
Jared's got such a phenomenal exit, and it's both got equal ERS.
And Callum retires.
And I don't think that, I don't think he's even close enough for the second straight, and I think that, in that last sector, I don't care what tires you're on, I don't think you can do it. I mean, it's so close. And
Paco but Paco did get a good exit there, and
is Paco going to make a move? I don't know. He's going to go around the outside, and we've seen Julian do that multiple times. It hasn't worked. He's going to try and hold it around the outside.
Yeah, but
Jared,
Marcel has not
but Jared's trying to hold it.
Oh, but look, what a move by Paco.
I mean, what a move, and he's got the tires. I mean, fantastic. Under pressure, he gets the move done, but I mean, Jared Forsberry, you put up a fantastic fight there on some very worn tires, I must say, but I think that move, it's a fantastic move, but the grip,
It was the move to decide if he bottled this race or if he just slapped the championship leader in his face in this race.
Suarez winning in Abu Dhabi, he thought he would, and he takes the victory, and Jared Forsberry weaving to the end to take P2, and Mr. Consistent comes on the podium again.
What is happening here? I have no idea what happened there, but I saw Michael and Storm crashing somehow. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, I have no idea. But Storm passing the line in third, Michael passing the line in fourth. Lee will be the next one to pass as he is coming home in fifth. Then it will be Joe in sixth, Marcel in seventh, closely followed by Takis doing a donut in eighth. Then the gap down to Baker should be a little bigger as he's coming into the second to last corner now. In ninth. 2 points for the Ferrari team today, and then we have Billy
taking the final points paying position.
Did not have the best race today, but
apparently Billy's just won the race for me.
Yeah, I see that. It's glitched.
He just won the race by 8 minutes. It's a great drive from the Force India, I think.
And Charlie coming over the line in 11th, weaving.
Almost crashing out.
I'm pretty sure that was on purpose. And Michael is saying sorry to Storm over the stream, so I guess it wasn't on purpose. And in the end, Storm did end up in third.
The Force India's won for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think we all know him, so I think driver of the day, it's got to go to Billy.
Apparently, as he won the race.
If it finished like that, I think Paco has been robbed of a race victory. I've got to give driver of the day to Billy for that. I think that's a phenomenal drive. To start from 13th on the grid and win by 8 minutes. Is phenomenal.
I'm gonna run it down as we know it was, and that would be Paco Suarez winning ahead of Jared Fosbury and Adrian Storm in third. Then we had Michael Marlowe in fourth, Lee Kelly in fifth, Joe Hollis in sixth, Marcel in seventh, Christos in eighth, Luke in ninth, and I believe it was Billy in 10th, wasn't it? Yeah.
I know Billy won the race.
Apparently. Well, a 1-2 for the Renaults, and Yeah, the constructors is going well for them, and Marshall saying Billy equals Blizzard, maybe? I don't know, maybe. Well, shall we see? We gonna jump ahead and invite the top 3 to the poll. Well, I don't believe Storm does not have a mic though. Storm saying in the live stream that his tires were 85%, so I guess we were kind of right then to assume that his tires might be blowing up. He did manage to get them to the end though. And then I'll guess we'll start. Do you want to take the race winner, Thomas?
I mean, Billy's not in the party, so. I do think we have a happy Spaniard in the party today.
Definitely.
Paco.
Yep.
I mean, fantastic race for yourself.
Thank you.
Obviously, great pace. I mean, for me, why? Just why did you do that? You know, I think-
Stopping in the last laps.
Yes, why?
I got I was missing grip with the super soft and I didn't want to risk it. And I knew that Jared, although his tires were they weren't bad. I knew that in the third sector, that is a bit long, he would struggle. So I knew that it was that I could have an opportunity if I came to pits to overtake him again, and I actually did in the last lap. So yeah.
I mean, it was a fantastic move to take the win, but I mean, you called it close.
Yeah, it was really close. Yeah.
I mean, it was great for obviously our spectators and ourselves, but I mean, did you have any doubt in your mind that it may not work, or was it just full on confidence?
When I came out of pits, I saw that I was a bit far, and I thought for a moment that I wouldn't be able to make it. But when I saw that I was reducing the gap by 3 seconds per lap, I knew that I was going to make it.
I mean, it was a beautiful move, and it's it was ballsy. I mean, you had the grip there, so you went for it. But
Yeah.
But next round, are you looking confident for next round?
It's China, so I'm not sure. I don't like it. When I raced in another lake that you guys know, I make a great bottle there, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna be able to do there. I hope that maybe I can finish on the podium or top 5, but from here my objective is to be in front of you and try to reduce the gap with Jared.
That's completely fair enough, but good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
I'm not sure where Sandro is. We'll move
sorry
on
about
to the.
that. I accidentally muted my mic, but halfway into the season, Paco.
Yeah.
60 points gap before this race. Do you think you can still recover from this and end up with the championship, or do you think Jared won't be doing enough mistakes for that to happen?
Honestly, if I thought that I couldn't do it, I would have let Jared wins because he need to be in front of you, and all that. So if I wouldn't feel confident about it, I would have let him win. But I think that I still have a chance, a small chance, and that if during the next races I continue doing being in front of him and doing great races, maybe there will be an opportunity.
Definitely. Well, good to hear that you're still hanging in there. As I said, it's still 11 races left, so
Yeah.
congratulations on your win today and good luck for China.
I only would like to ask a question.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
live stream, in the start, I'm not sure if Marcel lost the backend or it was netcode.
Looked like the back end on my half. I was watching you.
It did look like that for me, but that's hard to answer from looking at it like with the view we had.
Okay. Okay, so thanks.
Ah, you're welcome.
Alright.
Well, I'll have to actually invite Jared again, as yeah, as the monk I am, I didn't do that. Well, we're gonna hold on and do the podium runners first. I do not believe we will see Storm doing interviews. And there he is. So, Thomas, do you want the honor?
I mean, two right, I will. So,
Go with it.
Jared,
Yes,
I
mate.
mean, P2, I mean, ERP, what are we thinking?
Could have been P1, but Paco did the extra stop, and he was smart enough to do it. He was quick enough, and he had the guts to take it. As you guys did say, is he confident of winning this championship? I believe he's still got the chance to win it. By a long shot, I could easily bottle a few races. There's a few tracks what are coming up what I don't like. But no, today's race was good. I've had a very chilled out race. Not at the start, it was stressful as hell. But no, it was a good race today, and it quality felt good. We knew what we were doing, especially with the tyres were ridiculous. Somehow me and Paco managed to take those ultras 13 laps. They were cooked, mine at the end, that's why I lost 5 seconds to Paco. And that 5 second cost me the win because I was with him at a certain bit. But yeah, we pitted and luckily we got out in clean air and we just ran with a 1-2 and we finally got a 1-2 again. After Spain we got one but got another one, so but no, I've enjoyed today.
Yeah, well, it seemed, I mean, his move on you at the end was fantastic, and I could see yourself was putting up a fantastic fight and you just did everything you could, but at the end of the day, them fresh tyres were just unstoppable.
Yeah, those fresh tyres did the job. Honda's AI car, when he retired, didn't help me. He could have, hopefully he didn't retire. But it was like that in quali on my second super run. Lee retired his car in front of my car, so I couldn't set a faster lap. But other than that, no, I give Paco that. That was probably the best move out of anyone in the F2 League has done this whole season, especially on that corner. So I've got to give him credit, and he deserves the win as much as I do.
We had some good moves today as well.
Oh yeah,
Marcel was making some fantastic moves as well.
Yeah, I understand Julian, who won last week. He's still a threat for the championship. So is Storm. If he can get a win, hopefully he can get a win next week. It's China. So.
Oh, let me just stop you for a moment there. You're saying hopefully that Storm will get a win next week, but do you really hope that? Don't you really hope that you get it?
No, I've got to give it him. It's been unlucky for him all season. He could have won Austria, but the strategy didn't go, and then a few tracks, stuff's happened. But I'd like the championship to have more people in it, because at the moment it's me, Paco, and Lux, and Marcel at the moment. But what's the word? China's not the best track for me or Paco. Paco, what happened in PSGL, and you know, I've done similar things, but not there on the fast left and fast right. So it's going to be a tough track. I won't expect first. There's no way. As I said today, today I got second when I said I was going to finish fourth, but luckily the start there was a bit of, you know, collision between Nino and Tim. Don't know what that was, but my eyes, Nino was on his inside the corner, but you never know. Like, Nino could have not give Tim enough room, but that's
I
it.
think it was just Nino didn't realise that Tim was still there. I think that's what it
Yeah,
was.
and luckily I got a good enough run so I didn't get collected in there because I could have been easily collected. But no, today I believe the person who deserves driver of the day is Paco for doing that amazing move on me. And as Sandre said, he wants Paco to win this race, and then said Tom's biased. I'll say you're biased because you are his teammate in PSGL, you know. But nah, I've had a very good race.
Well, oh, I forgot what I was about to ask. I don't even remember now. So you're like your 9th podium of the season in 10 races, Jared.
Yeah.
Like, just how are you being this consistent?
The thing is, me
You
even
literally
getting
had
a win.
one race that went wrong, and
Yeah, traumatic memories. You know, you know, you've got to get used to your car. You've got to get used to everyone around, and I shouldn't. In my opinion, I'm surprised I've lasted this long with a podium streak, like 9 podiums. Because when we did pre-season, I was last out of the F2 winners who did it. And I was 1.2 seconds slower than Paco, and now this whole season I've managed to gain around about 6/10. He's still faster by a long shot, but I don't know. Me and him have been lucky to get out of danger, and our reactions are on point. So, you know, it's been a lovely season so far, and hopefully it can continue with more podiums. My target is to get 15. And set a record for any F2 driver for next season, because I guarantee
I'll
there'll be a
promise
few
you,
people
if you
trying to
set
beat me.
15 podiums this season, it's gonna be hard to break that record for drivers in F2 for the next seasons.
We'll just wait and see.
Oh well, consider yourself lucky. I took myself out of F2.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I don't know if you have any more questions for Jared Thomas.
Oh no.
No, well, of course, China, good or bad for you? Or I think you actually answered that already.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not fast left and fast
Well,
right, the middle part sector too. So
then I believe I don't have any more questions either. So, congratulations on that 2nd place today,
yep, thank you very
and
much.
good luck for China.
Yeah, well, cheers.
And then I believe it is Joe who. Yeah, Joe. So, Joe, I guess it wasn't as good of a race as you wanted it to be. From pretty early on, it looked like you were struggling with your tires, and looked like you were struggling with tire temps.
Well, I'm actually I'm not annoyed. I'm okay with P6 because that's where I started. And like I knew I wasn't good around this track, so I'm pretty fine with this position where I am in. But yeah, I was struggling pretty early on with those tires. Once I got into the new set of ultras, it was great. But then I decided to put on lap 15, so I don't get undercut by Marcel.
Alright, well,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, Marcel, you and Marcel battled for a long time. Did you feel like you had the upper hand on him, or did you feel... Yeah.
In a way, because I had two lap pressure tires, but I was getting pretty annoyed because I think it was lap 12 or 13. on the straight where I was right up his arse. I was about to go for the move, then he just pulled to the left, so I had to hit my brakes on the straight. Then also when I was on the outside of that corner, he hit me, so then sent me to a half spin. So I hit his car, or then put me straight again. Yeah, I wasn't very happy there. And there was a few laps later, after we pitted, he was ramming me, like I was on the inside on the straight, and he rammed me up the rear on the straight to make me go to that, like, so I lost control of the car, so it sent me to the right. From there on out, I was kind of annoyed, so I was like, I'm gonna like be a lot more aggressive than I normally am, so. And it got me P6.
Well, then, as you're happy with P6, I would never expected to hear that from you, but like, if you know it's a bad track, then yeah, maybe P6 is good enough in the end after struggling through the race. But
Yeah.
for China then, how is that track for you? Will you be expecting to fight for the podium, or
I have a question. Do you guys have a gun?
a what?
A gun.
A gun?
No.
No.
Can you shoot me in the head if you have one?
Why?
Alright, I think I know what
It's
that
horrible.
means. So China is a really bad track for you then.
Permission
Yeah,
denied.
especially with temps. Especially with temps.
Alright, well, that's too bad to hear. I can't do that for you though. I can't shoot you in the head. We would lose a driver from the championship, you know.
Yeah.
But
Someone's got to beat Paco. Someone's got to beat Paco in the championship.
I doubt it'll be me. Showing what he had today, catching up in 3 laps from how many seconds? 8 seconds.
I can't remember.
Jesus Christ.
But well, with China being a bad track, what do you hope to get from it then? Are we talking top 5 points?
I'll be chuffed if I get top 5. I'll be fine with top 10. Just points. That will keep me up there in the championship.
Alright, fair enough, fair enough. How are you looking at the championship now, Joe, as we're midway through the season? You were in second, you're now in third.
I think it'll be tough to keep up with Paco, as like I think he's probably the fastest in F2, even though Jared's leading. I hope you're not watching, Jared. So I don't think I'll be able to take P2 in the championship. I'm just hoping Storm and all that don't catch up to me, since I think Storm overtook my teammate in the championship now.
That might be. My memory isn't that good.
Oh no, Storm already overtook my teammate. So I'm just hoping I can keep the position.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to sort China out during the weekend.
Yep.
For now, congratulations on your 6th place and good luck for China then.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. And then So Lee, you ended 5th, am I correct?
Yeah, yes, you are.
Alright, so first off, 5th place, you happy with that or?
Considering where I started, I'm over the moon. I started last in 18, so
Oh yeah, that's
very happy
right.
with that. But coming into the race, I wanted podium, so it's yes and no.
Well, I mean, if you think about starting last and then getting up to 5th, that's not bad. So you did get a lot more than you could have ended up with then.
Yeah.
And I can't actually remember that much of battles for you in that race. Well, you started on supers, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Because in quality into the barrier, just parked this car on the racing line, so.
Yeah, I do believe that was when he retired it, if I saw correctly. Well, starting last on the grid on supers. Are you just thinking about, like, for the first few laps, just trying to stay out of trouble and then try to pick up your pace when people might start pitting, or?
Yeah, it was, and also in the final laps, I ended up finishing a tenth and a half behind into the barrier because of time penalties. But you know, yeah, really, I just wanted to keep it clean, and also I couldn't push because the tire temps were ridiculous. I just had to conserve, and I did, so I'm happy with fifth.
All right. Well, then you kind of stole away my, my another question I had. Well, China, the next track, good or bad, or?
Really, end me. I hate that track. Being honest.
Why
Well,
does
you're not the
everyone want to
only
die
one.
so much?
I don't know.
What's wrong with China? Can we not be nice?
No.
You know, I was
No, it's a
thinking the same
terrible.
thing. I like China, and I think you do, Thomas, too. But these
I wouldn't say
drivers don't like it.
I wouldn't wish death upon myself.
Well, what are you expecting from China then, Lee?
Being in the goddamn wall, if I'm being completely honest.
All right, so you're aiming for a points finishing position then, or?
Yes, but then again, in the past, I have said that like Britain and Abu Dhabi, I said that they were terrible tracks, and I ended up, obviously I had to go pace around Britain, and so would Abu Dhabi. So you never know, do you?
You are correct there. Well, for now, congratulations on your 5th place today, and good luck for China then. Don't die.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I won't die. Don't worry.
You have a few more years in you, believe me.
Thanks.
Well, Thomas,
Yes.
that was our last interview for today. So, do you have a moment of the race? I know what you're gonna say.
Well, the race, it's gotta be that overtake on Paco. I know.
Yeah, I realized
It was
it as I
fantastic.
asked it, but yeah, that is my moment of the race too. That, like, on the last lap, in the, well, I believe they started this last sector there, and he just fully used the grip of the Hypersoft against Jared Supers. Brilliant move there.
Absolutely.
And in your pick for driver of the day?
I mean, I was going to give it to Paco, but as Leroy pointed out himself, I've got to give it to Leroy. I think it's a fantastic drive from the back of the grid from Leroy.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of the exact same thing for me. I was also thinking about Paco, but then again, with Lee starting last and finishing 5th in the end, I got to give it to him. I was also thinking about Michael after just showing a dominant performance in saving those hypers. Like, nobody else could save them as he did. Which was impressive, but
Very impressive.
then again, 18th to 5th for Lee.
You can't ignore that. I think
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can't.
normal drive from him.
It's just that easy.
And
You
as I
can't ignore
said,
that.
we've got Lee in the Williams. You've got a driver there who's driving full of confidence at the minute.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, both Williams, I believe, would be full of confidence at the moment, as Lee has consistently been performing good, I believe. Nino has struggled, but really got it together the last race, although he did not today. But yeah, I think we'll have a lot of good battles for the last part of the season, as we're
Absolutely.
midway now. I don't know if you have anything more to add, Thomas.
I just think that we're gonna have a quite small grid for China. You know, I think we're gonna have lost a few in combat.
Well, I do believe, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like we will have a few retirements. It's hard to say in advance though, but I hope not, but it's hard to say. Hopefully most drivers get through.
All drivers have to be locked up in a closet till China, so they can't die.
In a straight jacket.
Yep. Hands, literally, yeah. Hands crossed over each other. They get fed through a tube.
Getting
They
a
can't go
little
on, like, a
extreme
hunger
here now.
Thomas, what the hell?
I
Well,
just want no one dying.
I guess the moment of the race for us commentators was the overtake of Paco at the last lap. Driver of the day for us was Lee Kelly. I do not believe I have anything more to add at the moment. Next race will be next race in IRL will actually be this evening, as the IRL GT Sport League is going to be driving around at 8 p.m. GMT, I think, if I remember correctly. Then we have IRL F1 tomorrow at 4:15 p.m. GMT. What do you think about that, Thomas?
I'm sadly not going to be able to
make
attend.
anything? Oh, that's a shame. I'm gonna be at the back alone then.
You can take yourself out this time.
Well, next race after that will be IRL F2 next weekend at 4:30 p.m. GMT as usual. It will be China.
Oh my god.
And
No, I'm just done about invalidating. I hate invalidations.
oh, well, this has been IRL F2 round 10 around Abu Dhabi. I've been joined by Thomas Scott today, the Bottle Scott himself, in the comms box. I hope everyone enjoyed the race, and I hope to see you back next week. Make sure to subscribe and like if you like it.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.
Have a good evening, everyone.